What's excuse me, what's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. The markets are alive. There's a lot going on. Seems like it's been like that way all year. Can't say anything is dull or boring. And there's a lot to discuss this morning as we get ready, bringing ourselves into the weekend. It has been risk off Friday. Will that continue today? Do we still will this be the 8th week in a row? We have the indices kind of mixed so far this morning. We had pretty bad non-farm payroll print that was expected. Listen, I don't know if we're going to actually be able to continue. On my end, the connection is pretty okay, but TradingView is having some issues this morning in the ability to switch through and flip through charts. So I don't know if that's going to hold us up or what this morning. Nevertheless, we'll be able to talk together and give ourselves a overview of what is going on. Indices are mixed. Again, I can't flip through charts. I'm just going to have to give a short, quick, concise overview of everything that's going on. Weird. Good morning. Good morning, Gustavo, Dinkar, Gene, Jesse, and Thomas. What's going on? Great to see you all. We are seeing obviously that strong dollar strength taking place this morning. I don't know what to do here. Well, now we have ourselves a little bit of an issue. I've tried everything this morning. I've tried from switching from back and forth through different types of browsers, through the Chrome, pop-out browser on TradingView, trying to get everything up and going here. I switched 3 different Wi-Fi networks, connections, tested the speed. It's not on my end, but here we are. Sorry to let you all down. Even on my app, the TradingView is not loading right now on my cell phone as we speak. So TradingView is down, which kind of puts us in a situation where our hands are tied. So I could give a little bit morning, Nerman, a brief overview of what's going on. Probably in about a half hour at 10 o'clock a.m., we're going to get the ISM non-manufacturing services print. That's going to be a pretty important number the market's going to key off of. Let's see how the indices specifically watch off of that. Here we are. Wow, we're really handicapped this morning. It's okay. Traders need to be able to adapt. It's crucial to be able to adapt with whatever circumstances you're giving as a trader. Here you could see that we are back testing this support here on the Euro US dollar. It has been a wild ride on the Euro US dollar. That dollar is strong. We were watching that yesterday. We were watching the dollar as it was breaking out of that near-term triangle pattern. We're looking for it to go a little bit higher, yet still, but the dollar is firm today. And here we are bouncing so far off of this little bit of support. We'll see. That's the first look at it, the first touch, and it's come down hard into it. Obviously, I'm waiting for it to break. I'm waiting for a test down here, and I am waiting for lower lows than this area over here. I remain that dollar bull. Indices are mixed. Bitcoin is firm. Hopefully I can pull up a chart here and look at it with you. Yeah. That's tough. I'm sorry, guys. I feel really bad. I know it's not my fault, but nevertheless, I feel like I can't even get quotes up, guys. I'm so sorry. Anyway, Bitcoin is looking pretty firm. Now, I don't know what's going to happen today if the indices do sell off. I'm watching the ISM non-manufacturing print that will be coming up in 25 minutes. It's possible the indices use that just to sell off, and because it's Friday, it's risk off Friday, And if they do, it'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin reacts. Now, earlier in the week when the markets were down, Bitcoin was kind of like flat. Gold was decoupling a little bit from the indices being down, rising, Bitcoin at the same time. Listen, Bitcoin's looking pretty healthy. And as long as it's holding above, 6,500, 6,300, it's still pretty with a bullish bias. If we lose the $6,000 level at this point, then I'll have to flip, and I will be definitely near term bearish on it, and we'll have to just completely reassess. But right now, it looks like we're headed towards the area that I was talking about, somewhere between 81 and 8,400. And then we'll see if we're able to hold that new trend line, which will be back into a triangle. So gold today is looking pretty solid, trading back up at 16.19. Silver right there with it, trading at 14.48. Now you would think longer term that's a pretty solid price there for silver to go ahead and get in there, and probably why there's much more opportunity yet on silver. I still think gold is going to be leading in the near term. Nevertheless, I'm not interested in taking a trade at it on this point on any paper, and I'm just kind of waiting to see what develops over there. Now the DXY we were watching yesterday, and the DXY definitely broke out of that pattern we were watching, firmed up all the way up to about 100, and I'll call it 80 pre-market before the non-farm payrolls print. And shortly thereafter, and it's off a little bit right now. I would say overall the dollar is super firm, back over 100, headed to test that 102, right? I think we have it at 101, 101.70 is where we expect it to test first, but ultimately going on to new highs. What else? The U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, definitely looking firmer today. I'm having trouble. So I've been telling you all that on Monday I expected the Bank of Japan to go ahead and act. I'm having trouble finding any information on that. They're not on the calendar, so I could be completely wrong on that. So I don't know. I don't know. That's unclear. I will do my research before the weekly Forex forecast and analysis, and definitely be talking about it there, because if they are on Monday, that's probably the most important event of the week going in. Today is Risk Off Friday. All right. So be aware. Be aware. We're seeing the Swiss franc definitely a little bit bid today. Dollar is stronger. Dollar is definitely stronger. What else is there? But the yen is definitely the pound. I wish I could pull up the pound for you. The pound is broken out of that consolidation we had been looking at. It's broken. It's breaking down. It's finally, after holding up pretty strong, I would say all week, is definitely now finally down 1% against the dollar. If I could pull it up, I would like to look at that chart with you. So the Saudis have called an OPEC meeting. It looks like they're going to be cutting 10 million barrels per day in production. Obviously, they have to get through that meeting, which now the Saudis are also looking for other countries to come on board with cuts. One of those countries they're looking for they named specifically was Mexico, and the Mexicans probably put on the trade of the year when they hedged their oil at the beginning of the year, because at the beginning of the year, oil was trading somewhere up around $54, and they hedged that trade. So even these low oil prices are not hurting Mexico whatsoever. So I don't know if that's going to be a deal breaker or not, but it looks like as of right now, they're talking about a 10 million barrel per day cut, and it seems like that's going to go through. Now, overall, I think I personally, Jordan, think this is an opportunity to sell the bounce. Where, I don't exactly know. We're up at $27. I can't look at a chart with you because because TradingView is just, here we go. It's going to load. When it loads, we'll take a look at it. It's too soon to sell, but I do believe overall this is an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity to come in here and sell. Is there still more room to the upside? Yes. Is there probably another 10% to the upside? Probably. But I will in the days and weeks ahead keep monitoring and see if I could get into a nice short position on there, because even a $10 million barrel cut, why that's helpful, that's not going to cut it. They need to cut 28 million barrels per day to probably 90 days out get back to a more even supply due to the lack of demand. So this is I think going to be just a near term pump and then going to wind up being sold. I'm blind here. We're all blind. Trading View is just dropping the ball. Yeah, Blair, I have heard that all across the globe, basically, they have really throttled internet connection speeds. I think because everyone is watching Netflix. Netflix takes up like an obscene amount of all internet bandwidth. So it is what it is, but this is abnormally slow today. I sincerely did check my end. I have 123. Uh, seems good on my end. It's definitely not even loading on my apps. Uh, Today I have no idea. I don't know if it'll touch 30 today. Okay. I have no idea whether or not oil will touch 30 today. I think if it touches 30 today, if it'll be up another 10%, um, I might. Well, I'm not going to sell it on a Friday, but I might. Roman, put in a call, man. Got to get this fixed. Uh, it is what it is, though, right? So, thank goodness it's Friday. First of all, thank goodness it happened after, after the non-farm payrolls, and we got a good look at what was going on in the markets. U.S. indices are trading up towards their highs right now. We have the ISM not manufacturing coming in about 18 minutes, and I think that could be where if they're going to turn, where they turn. I would be sincerely surprised to see the markets put in an update today. Is it possible? Of course, it's possible. But generally speaking, it's Friday. U.S. dollar is holding its gains. I can't even get a quote on it, but versus the Japanese yen and euro, the two that make up the majority of the DXY, it's definitely maintaining towards the highs of the day. Trading View dropping the ball. All right. So I think next week I'm gonna start getting well, first of all, on Monday we'll be back to our 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So we're gonna be starting a half hour earlier like we used to, which I'm excited about. And the other thing is because I like watching that, I like getting settled before the equities open together with all of you. Additionally, I think that I'm going to be putting on some content later in the day as well on the channel. Some other type of the way that I'm able to kind of process and read through different type of events taking place and how they affect the market and things like that. I wish we could get a better view here of what's going on, but we can't. By the way, this is so funny is that they keep talking about bill after bill after bill. Yesterday, Blair mentioned Anthony Pompilano's Off the Chains podcast. I can't. There's no way I could get his name right. But the interview yesterday, which is This guy is great. He's been on CNBC supporting Bitcoin years ago. A billionaire, one of Facebook's original employees. Really good guy, and he is a really good. It's a really good interview, and he's talking about what is happening in the economy and the way he sees things, and the way that businesses that you know how it's all a domino effect, and because everything is so connected, the type of slowdown we're going to see is much bigger than everyone expects. I highly recommend it. I could share a link later. No, I'm just working. I do want visuals. There's no way I thought we were going to be down here. Um, I haven't really used my own Oanda outside of connecting it to TradingView in a long time. So I'm not prepared there, John. If this was the same thing on Monday, I assure all of you that good workaround, John. That's what I was talking about. Traders needing to be really adaptive and creative. We will do that on Monday, if need be. I can't imagine TradingView will be down that long, meaning into Monday. But if they are, we'll do that. Let's take another look right here, and hopefully we get back up. I'm looking right now, John. I don't even know. I don't think I even have FX Trade on my um, downloaded as an app. Let me try and see if I can pull that up. Wow, really firming up now, Mata. We do want visuals, John. We do want visuals very much. So I don't have the app though. I'll do that in case it happens again Monday. We'll just kind of wing it right now. Not fun. Is there any other charting I could pull up that anyone knows of on a web app? Excuse the silence. I'm taking a look there, see if I could pull that up over here, John. I feel like everything's throttled. Jasper, I'm pulling up. Your TV's back. My TV. All right. Very slow. Mine are not coming up here. Terrible, everybody. Just absolutely terrible. This is no way to work. What are you guys talking about? Your TVs are up. You guys watching TradingView on your TV? Here we go. I think we're back online. We're back online. All right. Let's get into it now. There's a lot to catch up on now that because I'm blind. DXY holding towards its trading towards its high of the day. Obviously nothing's in here. This was the triangle pattern. It's gonna take me 2 minutes to get into the flow, everyone. All right, we're trading back towards the highs over the day. I'm looking at around 101.70 to be the first area of resistance. That's pretty far from here. All right, so I think we're going to extend further. This is the area that I'll watch to see how price reacts. I am eventually looking for us to make higher highs over here. Let's see if, what kind of break we get once we get into some pretty strong supply, whether or not we burst through it or we get held up and then maybe don't make it on our first try. But from here, I'm still holding my US dollar longs. I think we got some further area to cover. Let's see. I wanted to look at the pound US dollar. You could see the pound US dollar yesterday was consolidating up towards this resistance. I'm using different charts than yesterday. So all my notes are gone. That's fine. This was the resistance we were trading off of. We said that we have the resistance above and the support below. When you break below one or the other, you're going to get your indication. Okay, so over here, definitely trading below this support. This is bearish. It looks to me as the dollar continues to strengthen, there's a good chance we come into this area over here. That would be the place to look for take profit. Now we are getting in just 7 minutes the a pretty important number. It's not marked as a high impact news event, but today it is. And if we find out that that either the services inside the U.S. is stronger than expected, that could really even give the dollar just a sincere burst. At the same time, it could be a catalyst that causes the dollar also to sell off just on the day. But it is Friday, all right? It is Friday. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen, and why I say it's Friday. By the way, there was some pretty important news out of Singapore. Singapore is experiencing a second wave. Singapore has been really proactive in controlling everything over there, and nevertheless, they're still experiencing a second wave right now. That's scary. That's really scary. And the reason I bring that up is because it's Friday. Friday tends to be risk off because we don't know what's going to happen over the weekend. Here's a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. And I need to do some more research to figure out whether or not we should expect some fireworks on Monday or not. But here, the dollar definitely firming up, even more so than the yen. At the end of the day, this is a dollar shortage problem. And again, for the first time for the first time in a crisis situation, it might look like the US dollar outperforms the Japanese yen. Oh, look at me. Oh man. See, now, yeah, wow. Assume my kids are gonna be making fun of me. This is what's happening over here. So we're about 5 to 10 TV. What's TV? You guys are watching Trading View on your TV? Oh boy. Bitcoin. See, this is what all right, now I can look at some charts with you. All right. So Bitcoin breaking out of this little area over here. This is bullish. Now I think my target for Bitcoin is all the way up here between 81 and call it 84 in this area over here. When I say target, I think we're going to bust through this trend line. This is an important trend line to take back, because once we take back this trend line, we're back where we should have been had we not experienced that liquidity crisis, which is within this triangle leading up to the halving. So I'm looking for that to happen. Now, what I'm looking to happen is for Bitcoin to come into this area. That would be the first area of resistance, be rejected, and see if it holds this trend line. If it does hold this trend line and start trading back up, at that point, I will just be waiting. We're about 40 days away from the halving. I'll be waiting and until we break this trend line on the upside. And once we do, then it's game on. So Bitcoin continues to look pretty good as long as we hold above. See this trend line down here? As long as we hold above it, things that have a very strong bullish bias. If we trade below this over here, I think that things get pretty bearish, and it'll be a question of whether or not this support down here around 56.73 holds. The reason I bring it up is because it's super important. This has been the trade of the decade, and it's the trade of the decade to come. So again, everyone knows that I'm an advocate of that 4-year Bitcoin cycle. Bitcoin is made for this type of environment, and we are seeing the death downward spiral of fiat currency. Gold continues. Look, I wasn't. I was waiting for us to trade between right there, 1550, and I forgot the day I called it. I think it must have been 1560. We came close, but not into the area that I was looking for. I thought we were going to consolidate over here also. Didn't happen like that. Let's see if we get another chance. I don't want to chase gold up at these highs over here. And I know a lot of other people are expecting actually gold maybe to take another look down here. It could happen. I don't know. Let's see if we have another liquidity crisis or not. I think the Fed's actions have been enough. I don't want gold to get away from me. I'll put it that way. Again, just like Bitcoin is made for this environment, so is gold. Gold is really made for this environment. We have about 2 minutes now. U.S. equities are trading up on the day. Let's see what happens with the ISM over here, if that's something that sets it off or not. DXY is still firm. We're seeing that the Swiss franc is it's still holding the resistance up there. Even after that spike we saw on the Australian dollar yesterday, that 150 pip move on the Australian dollar, US dollar, which I want to take a look at in a second to see how far it's retraced. Nevertheless, this resistance is still holding over here. The way I see it, things are getting much worse, not better. We'll see. I want to look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. And wow, it's retraced that whole move. I want to pull up a 1-hour chart to get I guess we could pull up 2-hour maybe. Don't fail me now, Trading View. Don't fail me now. At least I can switch through pairs, but it's holding me up on looking at different time frames. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful, Trading View. You're the best. I'm looking for the S&Ps to key off this ISM number over here, Jesse. We'll look at it a little closer in 1 second. I think I should stay on one time frame. So I'm going to make that the 4-hour. Well, let me move it over here. I'm just going to be patient here. It's going to come back. So yeah, yesterday, finally, YouTube decided to go ahead and warrant the channel to be worthy to be monetized. And why that's good news is simply because YouTube is a business, and the more potential they have to make money off of a channel, the more they'll show the content to others. So now that we are monetized, perhaps we will get a little bit better recognition for the goodness we have going on in here. That's at least what I'm hoping. And here we go. So I'm going to put this on a 4-hour chart now that we've come back to life. Here, what was the print? Let's see right now. A huge print. You see that? A huge print. This is really bullish here for the US. Let's see what the market reaction is. Specifically here on the dollar, trading still off its highs, but very firm. And US indices are obviously trading up on that. I view this as an opportunity, perhaps, to look where we could get short. And I'm not saying that's today. If we break out over here, it's possible we could start trading up here with some type of authority. I don't know if that's going to hold on a Friday or not. I mean, do you want to be long US equities? I don't. Now, a lot of people are calling for a complete recovery. I have to be honest. If we do come up here and take out this area of resistance, this double top we have over here, then there's a strong chance we're coming in towards 28. Let me extend this trend line. Towards 28. I have it at 28.11 in this area over here. And that would be a phenomenal place to lean in, sell, as would all the way up until this trend line up here. So price is everything. Let's see if this is able to hold. I don't think it's going to hold. It's Friday. What's this print going to look like next month? That's the question, right? But this is a good sign here. This is a good sign. We'll take any goodness we could get, and that's a good sign that people are jobs are important, right? We want to see the economy performing well. Nice print, Mr. Stiff. Nice print indeed. DXY is kind of just maintaining during all of this. Right? Is this an area of resistance over here? See down here and there. I'll let you all decide on that. I mean, clearly it is, but I think it's pretty light. I think we still have some more upward movement in there, especially on a Friday. Again, I remain pretty strong dollar bull, and that's not going to end until I'm proven wrong. Of course, at the end of this, it's all about the collapse of the dollar. But before that happens, I would like to get myself some euro US dollar at 80 cents. All right. Let's take a look at oil. Look at this spike. It did spike up into the resistance. I had no idea. Oh man. Well, hopefully we get another retest up there. Over here at 30, I think is much stronger resistance anyway. So let's keep waiting it out. Um, I don't think there's any rush before OPEC meets to worry about missing out over here. You know, if we get up in this range of 28, that's a place to maybe take a nibble. If we do break out over there, 30 definitely looks attractive and above. All right. So I'm going to wait this one out. This could actually become a good trade. I would love to short oil up over there. I would. Markets are already, okay, they're unchanged. The XY just remaining fold. Everything is remaining kind of steady right now. So I ask all of you, what do you guys want to look at? I'm holding positions, right? I'm holding positions and they all look good. And I'm happy about that. And I think they're going to continue to extend. I've really been talking to all of you about, the importance in this environment of building up those positions and holding on to them. Uh, so let's take a look at the Euro Australian dollar. Because yesterday Billy Boy shared with me a nice look at this, and I just want to take a look and to see how this is developing. All right, we're still holding between this trend line over here and this support over here. A break either way, I think, was going to lead the next move, and this is something that I'm very interested in personally, because when you see this type of pattern form, the breakout and the move is pretty big afterwards, right? So without having any type of bias on which way it will break out, whether to the upside or downside, it clearly looks to me that we're coming to the pinnacle over here, and after this type of consolidation, that we're going to see a big move. So I'm going to continue to watch it. I'm going to throw a couple of alerts in there so that as it does happen, I'm aware. See, speaking of those patterns, look at this is perfect timing. This was a similar pattern that we just looked at in the euro Australian dollar, right? And you can see the triangle over here, which was just consolidating, coming to that pin here, broke down. Here was the retest, and then boom, this was a trade back into support over here now, right? Back into this area of support. It's holding and trading back above. So I definitely lean I definitely lean bullish here. I lean bullish here as we've traded all the way down now into this area of supply and support, and now are trading off of it. And as long as this holds, definitely bullish here on the euro over the pound. And you can see that the pound is, after maintaining such strength, is coming off hard now. I'm looking for the pound to come down into this area of support now at 1.1983. Um, it's hard for me to say. Only because I'm not in it. I don't know. I think I like the pound dollar better, right? I think I like the pound dollar better. I don't really see um, too many reasons to play a strong euro. Do I think it'll be stronger than the pound in the near term? Yeah, but I'm not a fan of the euro. This looks good. Um, but that's just two subpar currencies versus each other. I'm a fan in this environment of maintaining the yen. I'm on the sidelines with, except I'm trading the dollar versus the yen, but I'm not trading any commodity pairs versus the yen right now. I am versus the Swiss franc, and I am trading dollar strength versus almost everything else. So those are the currencies I like personally right now in this crisis environment. And look, this was a good trade coming out of here. Is this a good trade coming off the support? I think if you take this trade 100 times, you're going to be profitable. 100%, I believe that. Anytime, uptrend down into support, and if you take those all day long, you're going to be profitable. So it's a good trade. It's just not one that I am personally interested in. I am interested in this one though, because this is more towards the pattern, right? You could you could see that it should be a straight line, right? I like the outcome of this should be pretty explosive, and you could see that a similar situation that has recently occurred on the euro pound when we were up here, right? So I like that a little bit better. Are we into support over here? Is this a good place to buy? Yeah, the charts say so, but I am more focused in on U.S. dollar pairs primarily, and then followed by against the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar, Swiss franc, and also I took a trade on the pound Swiss franc. You can see that the gains are not as big on the against the Swiss franc as the dollar. The dollar's stronger. That's where I'm leaning into. Martin, I'm not familiar. I don't follow either one of them. So without knowing anything, I would say that the Norwegian kroner has been really beat up over the last month because of the drop in oil. So I would say that there is the possibility in the last 24 hours there was a little bit of strength. There's probably something to fade. If you give Gustavo, if you give me the ticker for that pair, uh, the Norwegian kroner versus the Swedish, I will pull it up and we'll take a look at the charts. Markets mixed, remain mixed. You're not able to take that good data and run away with it, and that was a nice print over here. This was completely expected. I think next month the numbers are going to continue to deteriorate and get worse. Um, DXY, again, for me, it's a dollar story. DXY closing in on its highs of the day. Carlos, what are you looking at, Carlos? What are you looking at? So it's following oil, at least the Norwegian krone is. You see that the sell off on the Norwegian krone, and then here we've bounced. Let's like I probably can't pull up oil. Yeah, well, there's definitely a correlation there. We could all see it, and it looks like it's following the price of oil. So, as if you were looking to fade oil, should you fade here? I would. I don't like exotics at all, um, but this is a strong downtrend. Strong downtrend. The Norwegian sovereign fund, which is the largest in the world, the $1 trillion fund, or at least was before last month, is seeing actually had to take money out of the fund to pay the government for the first time in history. That's not looking so good, right? Go back 3 months ago and everyone looked at this as like, oh, see, socialism works. First of all, there's nothing socialistic about them. But things have fallen apart and rather rapidly here. I think you start making lower lows over here and it's time to nibble in and take shorts. Eventually, I think that this is going to be faded. I think this is dependent largely here on the price of oil. But again, I think there's so many other opportunities right now. What does that versus the US dollar look like? That's cleaner, right? This looks like a pretty nice short opportunity over here to me right now. I like that better. Trading View, trade TV is was down for everyone around the world. It's mildly back up now, but they're definitely having some problems. Thomas, you worried about holding the dollar over the weekend? Why? Expand on that, please. Don't forget, dollar is a safe haven currency. Dollar is a safe haven currency. This looks good to the short side over here. So I'm interested in what the swap would be on this, you know. Um, but I have to admit that looks pretty tasty. Well, look, the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen definitely looks good, Carlos. Let's take a look at it. You can see as yesterday we traded down into the support over here, dropped down. Look at the 8 hour as we made a double bottom on this support over here, and as we started trading up, this was the entry. This was the entry down here around whether you took the first bit at 107.32 or 107.50. But in this area over here, this was definitely the entry. It's about 100 pips below. We've come out here and took out. We did actually on Trading View last night a look at this over here. This was done on the 4 hour. We were right trading right over here at 108, and I talked about us looking for a long again over here that we would trade above this resistance over here and into this one, and this is where we should end up. So if you just go onto the Trading View channel and look at that, Carlos, you'll see a signal sent right over here, and this has placed us right where we are. What happens from here today? I have no idea. If we break above this resistance here, I think the next stop is to 109.71. This line in the sand that's been pretty important, and then this trend line over here, this yellow one. Let me zoom out for you. This yellow trend line is a 5-year trend line. We've peaked above it twice, lower highs. Look, if next week we get above it, I'm looking for the dollar eventually to break 102. And if it does, let's see if things start accelerating here to the upside. Finally got my equities selling off over here. Risk off Friday in effect. Yeah, you pay. Oh, okay. You get a small swamp being long the dollar versus the Norwegian krone. Well, I mean that's a good way to. Well, that's a really Um, good to be always looking at the risk. But so far, what we've seen as the virus has gotten worse inside the US, we've seen actually the dollar firm up, right? You could see all week, we've seen the US cases grow exponentially. Uh, I don't even know what they are right now. Last I knew, I think it was 130,000 just inside New York alone. So as that has not been the case yet. Pound Canadian dollar, boom. So this looks interesting as we're coming down into this. These are marked red, but those are support, right? So a couple of things. First of all, you notice lower highs, right? But we're coming back down right now into this area of support. And the closer we get, if you see price start to stabilize, over here you have the Canadian dollar probably benefiting from the higher oil prices. I believe that's temporary. Um, I think the play here is to wait and whether it's this support coming up or down further into this area of support where price does eventually stabilize and resume off. I think that is definitely an area to get long the pound versus the Canadian dollar. Right now, you have the momentum. You have a weak pound today. Uh, the I assume the Canadian dollar is firm versus the versus the Japanese yen. Yep, firm versus the Japanese yen. What is it versus the U.S. dollar? Um, mildly firm, right? This is so I think that this is a reaction to oil. Again, I think oil ultimately, whether it reaches 28 or 30, is going to be wound up being sold and a good place to sell it. And I think this will be a good place to wait and look for a reversal. That's not today. That's absolutely not today. That probably won't be until after OPEC meets. But this is one to keep on your watch list. It's just not time yet to take trade this. Do you follow this momentum down further? No, you've missed this trade if you're not involved in it. And if you're holding this, keep on holding it, right? Nothing to really see or do over here. Um, Clear uptrend as far as any type of support levels. Um, it's hard to see. This is very, very murky and fuzzy, and I don't like to trade things that are not clear at all. And this is probably the definition of unclear, right? This is too choppy and volatile for me to even look at. So um, I have to step aside. Although on the pound Canadian dollar, this should be on your watch list. If you're not short this pair from up here, which I would not short because I don't sell tops, I would be looking and waiting for, and it probably won't come until the time of the OPEC meeting, but which was an emergency meeting called by the Saudis. But that will probably be sell the news type event, and we'll see oil peak. And at that point, if we're coming off support, will be the time to come in and turn around and pick up pounds versus the Canadian dollar. Clean that up a little bit. A bunch of you, and I wish I did, took the counter trend on the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, and I sincerely wish I had done that off of the news yesterday on oil. That was really astute and good trading. Those of you that took the long on the Canadian dollar versus the Japanese yen, that's a fantastic trade. This is the US dollar, Canadian dollar. You said that you're waiting for the breakout of the triangle. So for me, I'm gonna put an alert in there actually too. We break above this trend line, and I will look to reestablish along here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. I'm not playing this to the downside at all. If we coming down closer into the support over the next day, 2 or 3, on the higher oil prices, I would consider buying off of this support. So either buying off this support over here or breakout. Um, I don't even need this trend line in here anymore. I'm going to play the triangle. Or a break of this trend line to the upside would send me long the Canadian dollar. But longer term and near term is right. We're seeing oil bid, a little bit Canadian dollar strength. But long term, I'm looking for weaker oil prices. I'm looking for weaker Canadian dollar, and I'm looking for stronger dollar. So this is an opportunity here to reestablish that position of a long U.S. dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Do I think that we come out and take out the top over here? Yeah. Well, I'm looking for a way stronger dollar. And I'm not talking about in the near term. Eventually, let's see how long it takes for things to break down further. But I have to say, I'm pretty much on cruise control. Bitcoin off a lot this morning as the indices are getting down. That was my worry. So now this is actually a pretty important area for me to watch on Bitcoin as we come back down and test this. You can see this little trend line I have over here, right? And trying to figure out where I have to say that, well, I'm really wrong. But this is an important area right here for Bitcoin to hold. If it does and starts resuming upwards, that is obviously very, very bullish. And if it comes back down into this pattern, well, then I go to completely neutral. Inside this trend line and this trend line, I should make them blue. Back inside there, I'm neutral and ready for us to break either which way, up or down. Above it right here, I'm bullish. What else are we looking at? Feels like a little slow. We're seeing a slow unwind here on the U.S. equity markets. Um, Seeing gold and silver come off a little bit. Dollar is just basically maintaining, right? It has not really moved much since the New York session has begun, and everything else is quite stable. It'll be interesting to see how price reacts today around the London close. I expect we'll see some volatility into it, but right now everything is pretty stable with a slow bleed on U.S. equities. Let's take a look at them. No, you don't say. Oil traders, this is an article that you all should go to Zero Hedge and read right now, just to be aware, right? It's saying that Trump is meeting with the shale oil producers today, and if they're not going to cut, then Saudi Arabia and Russia are not going to cut either. That was the other wild card, along with Mexico. So if anyone is involved in the Canadian dollar and or oil, this is a good article to go ahead and definitely check out. All right, so I'm gonna put together definitely a very solid and important weekly forex forecast and analysis, be released the same time as we always release it over the weekend. So look out for that. That is extraordinarily helpful for me always in setting the pace for the week ahead. I think that things are going to be a lot different by the end of this session than they are right now. I'm maintaining my view of weak U.S. equities going into the weekend, of a strong U.S. dollar, and you know I'm maintaining my shorts here, hoping that these eventually start waterfalling. We'll see if that happens or not. Um, but listen, everyone, thank you. Sorry about this morning with the trading view fiasco. Johnny Jet, that was really creative thought right over there to pull up the Orlando FX trade. I'll have that set up in case that we receive any further problems with TV. Watching those charts on TV sometimes could be a little bit slow. And then, if that happens, we won't have to worry about it. We'll just have an alternative source to fall back on. I wasn't ready for that today. Nevertheless, thankfully, at the time we were ready to break, it got back up and running for us. I wish you all a really, 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 really wonderful weekend. And have a great day, everyone.